Welcome to the Pension Reform and Your CalPERS Pension video presentation. My name is Raquel, and today I will be discussing the Public Employees Pension Reform Act, also known as PEPRA. In this video, you'll learn what PEPRA is and how it may affect you and your CalPERS pension. I have found the information in today's presentation to be very useful for CalPERS members, whether you are a Classic or PEPRA member. So follow along as we walk through the key differences between a Classic and PEPRA membership. Before we begin, let's go over a couple of housekeeping items. We've provided a presentation notes and resources document to help you follow along and reference later. You'll find the link for the document in the YouTube description box. Please note that while the chat feature is open, we won't be responding to questions during the presentation due to the large number of participants. If you have questions, please contact us directly. With that, let's get started. Let's go over what we will present in this video. We'll start with, what is the Public Employees Pension Reform Act, otherwise known as PEPRA? Then, we'll go over what is a Classic member versus a PEPRA member. Next, we'll talk about the different retirement formulas, and we'll finish up with the PEPRA rules for employment after retirement. Now let's begin with our first topic. What is PEPRA? To address rising pension costs, state legislature enacted the Public Employees Pension Reform Act, or PEPRA, which introduced new rules for public employee retirement benefits. PEPRA took effect on January 1, 2013, and generally applies to new members who entered CalPERS membership on or after that date. Although PEPRA affected several areas of CalPERS benefits, today we'll focus on the changes that impact most members. First, PEPRA introduced lower retirement benefit formulas for new members. It also changed the minimum retirement age. For non-safety members, the minimum retirement age increased from 50 to 52. PEPRA also established lower compensation limits for members in higher income brackets. It's important to note that the law does not limit how much you can earn. Instead, it limits the amount of compensation that can be used to calculate your CalPERS retirement benefit. Once your earnings reach the annual compensation limit, your employer will continue reporting your pay as earned. However, you and your employer will no longer make CalPERS contributions for the remainder of the calendar year. These compensation limits are adjusted each year. Now that we've gone over what PEPRA is, let's look into the differences between the Classic member and a PEPRA member. How do you know if you're affected by PEPRA? It starts with your membership designation. Every CalPERS member is classified as either a Classic or PEPRA member. Let's begin with Classic membership. If you were hired and entered into CalPERS membership before January 1, 2013, you are considered a Classic member. If you are a Classic member and leave your CalPERS covered employment, you can retain your Classic membership as long as you return to the same CalPERS employer, regardless of how much time has passed. For example, if you worked for a city as a Classic member, left employment, and later returned to work for that same city, you would keep your Classic membership and benefits. Similarly, if you leave a state agency, such as a DMV, and later return to work for another state agency, such as Caltrans, you would also retain your Classic membership. This is because, under CalPERS rules, the state of California is considered the same employer, even when you move between different state agencies. If you become a CalPERS member on or after January 1, 2013, and you previously worked under another California public retirement system with reciprocity, you may retain Classic membership. Members hired on or after January 1, 2013, must complete a reciprocal self-certification form provided by their employer. This form helps CalPERS determine whether you are enrolled as a Classic or PEPRA member. It's important that the information on the form is accurate and verified with your reciprocal system. Keep in mind, completing this form does not establish reciprocity. Now let's move on to PEPRA memberships. A PEPRA member is someone who is new to CalPERS membership on or after January 1st, 2013, and who has no prior membership in another California public retirement system. You may also be a PEPRA member if you previously had Classic membership, left CalPERS covered employment, and later returned to work for a different CalPERS employer after a break in service of more than 6 months. For example, if you were hired by a city in 2010 as a Classic member, left employment in 2014, and were then hired by a water district 1 year later, your new membership with the water district would be PEPRA. Your service with the city would remain Classic. These two types of service are calculated separately for retirement purposes. Lastly, you will also be a PEPRA member if you had membership with another California public retirement system before January 1st, 2013, but are not subject to reciprocity when you join CalPERS. With that, let's look at how PEPRA has affected retirement formulas. Although there are many different retirement formulas, PEPRA reduces the number of retirement formulas available. If you are a PEPRA member, you'll fall under one of these formulas listed on the screen. All other retirement formulas would be considered Classic. Not sure what your retirement formula is? You can locate your retirement formula by logging into your CalPERS account. We highly encourage you to create your CalPERS account if you haven't done so. Once you've logged in to your CalPERS account, you'll see your account summary page. As highlighted by the red box, your retirement formula appears in the retirement section. If your retirement formula is one of the PEPRA formulas, you are a PEPRA member. If your formula is anything other than a PEPRA formula, you are a Classic member. To learn more about how retirement formulas are used to calculate your benefit, you can watch the Your Retirement Calculation video on the CalPERS YouTube page. Let's move on to our next topic, employment after retirement, another area impacted by PEPRA. After retirement, some members choose to return to work for a CalPERS employer as a retired annuitant in a temporary position. As a retired annuitant, you can receive pay for your work while continuing to receive your CalPERS retirement benefits. There are 2 key rules to keep in mind. First is the 180-day waiting period. All CalPERS retirees must wait 180 days from their effective retirement date before returning to work as a retired annuitant, though some exceptions may apply. Second is the 960-hour limit. Retired annuitants may not work more than 960 hours in a fiscal year, which runs from July 1st through June 30th. There are no exceptions to this limit. Both you and your employer are responsible for tracking your hours, and you can monitor them through your CalPERS account. For more information, refer to A Guide to CalPERS Employment After Retirement, available on the CalPERS website. Overall, PEPRA introduced several changes to CalPERS rules. These include the elimination of the Alternate Retirement Program, or ARP. For state employees, the removal of Additional Retirement Service Credit, known as ARSC, and changes to what is considered pensionable compensation. In this video, we focused on the changes that affect the greatest number of members. To learn more about how PEPRA impacted CalPERS overall, please visit the PEPRA webpage on the CalPERS website. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you of a few resources that can help you with PEPRA and your CalPERS benefits. First, visit calpers.ca.gov, where you can find publications, forms, and information about in-person and virtual classes and events. For details specific to your CalPERS membership, log in to your CalPERS account. You can also send a secure message there if you have questions about your account. If you prefer to meet in person, CalPERS has 8 regional offices throughout California. You can find the location nearest you on our website. And if you have questions about anything covered in this video or about CalPERS in general, you can call us at 888-CalPERS or 888-225-7377. We're available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Before we end, I want to tell you that this presentation, like our previous presentations, is available as a video on our YouTube channel, so you can come back and catch what you might have missed. Access our YouTube channel through our website, www.calpers.ca.gov, or directly on the YouTube website at www.youtube.com/calpers. Our presentation today was intended to give you an understanding of the Public Employees Pension Reform Act. To reinforce the information you've received today, I encourage you to take one of our member education classes. Enroll in your MyCalPERS account under Education. Please note that CalPERS is governed by the Public Employees Retirement Law. The information in this video is general. The retirement law is complex and subject to change. If there is a conflict between the law and the information presented in this video, any decisions will be based on the law. Later today, you'll receive an email with a short evaluation. Please answer all the questions, as it's important for us to get your feedback to help us improve these presentations. Thank you for taking time out of your day to attend this presentation, and have a great day.